pretty chamber I've been given my tasty thistle. Doesn't look quite as sturdy as dwarven masonry, but it'll do. Anything that's so many miles away from the presence of my father will do, in fact. King Thelor, rat bastard. He's treated his only daughter like dirt his whole life. Was it my fault my mother died giving birth to me? Was it my fault I was born without boys' bits between my legs? Ah, to hell with him. I'm here now, a blushing bride, about to start her life anew. You got any rye around here? Fat old Falstaff swears by his beer, but I like a shot of something stronger now and again. Or maybe you, my dragon, can be my strong shot this jolly day. And the decoration here could use some work. Where are the gemstones? The statues carved from deep, hard rock? An elf might feel at home here as it is, and that's saying something. Come to visit your wee wife, have you, my sugar plum? Good, for I have a wee favour to ask of you. My father, the king, curse his crown, is going to raise taxes again in that misbegotten part of Rivellin under his rule. Of course, you know the cur's as liked as a flatulent jester, even by his own nobles. So they begged me to beg you to countermand his tax rise. 'Twould humiliate him publicly and weaken his position as king. So they say. Fair enough, I reply. Music to my ears, really. So how about it? Mighty fine of you, my Rumplediddle. That'll bring the old bugger down a peg or two. Those beggarly barons are lucky I'm on their side, for I'd normally piss on cowards they're like. I must hand it to the decrepit divil. He does have guts, be they as rotten as Yorick's flesh. 'Tis my father I'm talking of. He organised a tax increase despite your very own draconic veto. And that is far from all. The mongrel has told anyone willing to listen that it was I that put you up to forced you to meddle in dwarfen affairs. Went on and on about how the good relations between you and him were jeopardised by a queen unworthy of her title. Wretched greybeard. How dare he? But you'll set the record straight, won't you? Aye, and him too. For every dwarf in the realm thinks an abstinent elf would make a better queen than me. Listen, my cuddly squirrel. If I was in the mood for something soppy, I'd be dining with the pigs. But I see you're going to go the goody two-shoes route again. So I guess I'll just have to grit my teeth and bear it. So when you say no, and my dad says stuff it, you show about as much spine as a skipping rope. I expected more from a bleeding dragon, to be frank. By Barlin, big briefs nethers. Next time I ask a boon of you, you'd bloody well better scurry like a scullery maid or else. Pay no heed to your father's jeers. Don't stoop to his level. Well, he has stooped for the both of us. Here, read this letter. 'Tis addressed to you, but it's been printed in that rag the Rivellin Times as well. That slithery snail also profusely apologises for having saddled you with such a sorry excuse for a wife that he wouldn't blame you if you threw me off the ship and married an elf instead. Indignation I must suffer. I couldn't be more mortified if you turned out to be a fairy fancying cross-dresser. This time we must strike back. This is madness. Once more, you would count my honour cheaper than a sailor's last resort in some back alley whorehouse. He'll sit there, my fiend of a father, sniggering as he thinks of me sullied reputation, whereas I have nothing but paltry sentiments of courtlessness of comfort. If that's to be the case, give me whiskey instead. Chivalry be damned. No more than a set of rules to keep your rivals under your thumb. It may not be chivalrous to be malicious once in a while, but at least it gets you results. You'll never believe it, my rum-tum-tugger, but it seems pox be upon him Papa has had a curious change of heart. Once more, we have the pleasure of receiving a letter from his arthritis-ridden hand, only this time 'tis not to spout more venom than a drunken snake, but, and I quote, to let flow the bad blood between us and to reconcile in a warm bosom of friendship. Ha! What a load of bull's bollocks! Now for the grand finale, listen to this. I have fallen gravely ill, my darling daughter, and therefore beseech you to let flow your good blood as well. For unless it passes from your veins to mine, my doctors assure me my last days are upon us. Ha! Bad blood, good blood, talk about contrived imagery. The nerve of the man! Darling daughter indeed. Whatever illness has taken hold of him, let it fester. Good riddance. Lords above, if they polish your shining armour any brighter, I'll have to squint every time I look at you. But I know you make sense, confound it. Now that I have the chance to show the world that I'm the bigger dwarf, I should take it. But I'll need a stiff drink first, I can tell you that. I'll leave for home in the morning. Just because I'm going to save my father's miserable life doesn't mean I can't let him suffer a good long spell first. There. I've done what you asked, my jack-in-the-box. I assisted the doctors with healing my father. He'll never be quite the same, but he'll live. All the same, the old sod may have cheated death for now, but Vulture's circle is thrown nevertheless. His closest friends, the nobles of the land, were rooting for his demise, and they smell blood still. Several of these worms have suggested that I should make use of his weakened state to ship him off to some remote estate somewhere and claim the throne for myself. Though I'm about as willing to please those split-tongued simpletons as I'm willing to get it on with a randy porcupine, I'm actually contemplating the idea. He did thank me, the most uncomfortable moment of my life, by the way. And to stand by him in his hour of need will endear me in the hearts of all dwarfs. Something I might benefit from in the long run. We'll be reunited, oh my silly drop of honeydew. You sound like an elf's ballad. Here's hoping my father's truly thankful for what I did. If not, I'll bash his face with a flail. I have to hand it to you, my curly kitten. You've done me a marvel. I thought a reconciliation between me and my father would be as likely as spotting a sober dwarf on St. Ryquafer's Day, but God's darn it, 'tis happened. He recognised the depth of my hatred for him, despite of which I came to his rescue. Now he has begged for my forgiveness, so that we may mend the rifts and make up for lost times. Bloody hell! Now I'm starting to sound like an elf's ballad. In all seriousness, though, I'm glad to let go of my bitterness and regrets. I've you to thank for this, my love. I shan't forget. My father called me Pumpkin. I very nearly slapped him in the face till I realised 'twas a term of endearment. Reconciliation's tough business, my laddie-o. When do you think we can have a holiday? Just you and I, my diddly-do. I'm dying to show you my old haunts. The mines, the cavern lodge, the great vaults where the vats reach high as giants. Oh, we won't have to spend an instant above ground, just like proper dwarfs. Sounds good, yeah? Do you mind if my dad comes over for supper one of these nights, my spoon of sugar? He'll behave with a dragon at the table, and it'll be so much fun to see Falstaff grovel. There. I've done what you asked, my jack-in-the-box. I assisted the doctors with healing my father. He'll never be quite the same, but he'll live. All the same, the old sod may have cheated death for now, but Vulture's circle is thrown nevertheless. His closest friends, the nobles of the land, were rooting for his demise, and they smell blood still. Several of these worms have suggested that I should make use of his weakened state to ship him off to some remote estate somewhere and claim the throne for myself. Though I'm about as willing to please those split-tongued simpletons as I'm willing to get it on with a randy porcupine, I'm actually contemplating the idea. And retire he shall, into the very crack of obscurity. His time as king is over, and the dwarfs will have a queen. I'll be out this afternoon shopping for crowns. Now, I'm not one for subtlety, so don't be surprised if I take a shine to a pretty thing precious as Oberon's self-esteem, though not quite as fragile. There we are, my lamby pie. Not only am I your wife and queen, I'm the queen of all dwarfs as well. Dad's been moved to Windy Top Manor to convalesce, and the prognostics read that that might take a good few years. Until he's in no state to convalesce anymore, in fact. Notice how I haven't called him skunk or bastard yet. Don't think I've gone soft on you, but the old coot has mellowed, you know. He doesn't even hold the little coup against me. Says 'tis his brush with death. Claims it makes him reevaluate things in his life. I don't care if that means that he's taking a shine to dressing in tassels and pink. But if he's a bit nicer for it, all the better. He's been talking about forgiveness for past deeds even. I'm not quite sure I'm there yet, but over time perhaps. If ever it happens, I do have you to thank for it though. I'd have confronted the bugger head on each and every time we clashed, but you kept me from doing so. I got a feeling that one day that'll prove to have been just the tonic me and my father needed. For that I thank you, my love. Ah, to be queen. What'll be the first thing I do? Well, the palace could stand a spot of tidying up, but that'll cost a pretty penny. Maybe I should raise taxes. Just a bit. Do you think it would be alright if I could just fire all those councillors that hover around me like so many bees around a flower? I realise I'm quite a fancy specimen, but oftentimes I wish I could just grow thorns and be rid of their inane chatter. Dear me, my feisty fiddlestick, I can see why you wanted to become an emperor. Bloody good, isn't it, to be the lord of the land? Better yet, the lady. They don't expect me to go to war, no. Live a life of leisure, share a bit of the luxury, and everyone's as merry as flies on dung. Gonna take a bit of getting used to this queen business. Here was this group of jesters boring the teeth out my gums when I stood up and yelled, "Off with their heads!" Won't jest no more, those fellows. I didn't even have time to sit down again afore a few nobles had done the deed. Oh well, better watch my mouth next time, eh, my wee bramble pudding?